Hi, and a very good evening to you to Felixstowe Live. My name's Chris, and I apologise for the delay. We're 10 minutes late. You can't believe it, can you? Can you trust people to actually perform when they say they're going to? Well, the reality is that things happen when you're doing live video, especially when you're doing stuff that's a bit more, I guess you'd say, kind of content oriented. And that's a problem for me that kind of I have to deal with, don't I, really? And tonight I pressed the wrong button, and therefore I'm waiting for a machine to do something else to upload another video, and I don't know how long it's going to take. Part of the fun. Thank you for your earlier messages. It's interesting to see what people has to say even at this point. What we'll be doing, I think, is coming back to the topic of the pub and see if we can get that video to upload, because we have an interview with a lady called Emma Harris Curtis, who really has gone overboard on this. She's really, well, I don't know, gone overboard is the right phrase, but certainly she's got, she's got some steam up. Let's say that much. She really thinks that punch inns or punch pubs have got it wrong closing the White Horse, and I think she might well be right. The question remains to be asked: what can we do about it? And I've had a chat with Emma, and I'm going to show you the video chat that we had a bit earlier tonight. I hope I hope we can get it all right in the end. See what people are saying. Is she enthusiastic? Yes, she is, Claire Barlow. She's very enthusiastic about the idea of actually keeping that pub open. And I have to say, I've been in there a few times over the years. And hi, Claire. Yeah, and heavens above. Okay, and what have we got here from Sean? Hi, Sean. So we've got all those things essentially coming up, but at the moment I'm trying desperately, well, fairly desperately, to try and get my machines to do what I want them to. It does take time, and it's a bit of a catastrophe when something goes wrong. You have to just stand here and put up with it and hopefully keep yourself going. Okay, what are we talking about tonight? Well, we are talking about two things. First on the list, we're talking about art. Every week we go to the 142 Gallery in Hamilton Road and have a look at what they've got on display. Every week they have a different artist, and we'll come onto that in just a moment. But just to go back onto the thing with the White Horse, we'll come back to that after looking at the art situation and give the film a chance to upload. It's a bit suicidal here, isn't it? Really dreadful. Why don't I sort myself out? Well, it's because technology lives a life of its own, as we all know. So there you have it. Okay, so I went along today to see a lady called Evelyn Polk, who is the artist in residence this week at the 142 Gallery in Hamilton Road. I had a look at some of the stuff that she's doing, and although it's I don't know what you'd say, it's abstract, but it's really quite interesting. It's interesting to look at. Have a look at some images that I recorded. Here we go. So there's Evelyn working away. As you know, the gallery has, I call it a very Catholic taste. It takes literally any artist who's got some form of visual art and gives them a space in which to display their work. Evelyn is quite unusual. She does all kinds of interesting stuff, and a lot of what she does is kind of around other things. So it's around things that she's found. It's around shapes and graphics that she likes. It really is an interesting array of material. And to be honest with you, I think if you've got 10 minutes going spare, it'd be a good investment of your time to go along and have a look, because it's fascinating stuff. Every week at the gallery, we'll bring you something from that on this show, and also we'll follow that up tomorrow on Friday with a proper interview with the lady, with in this case Evelyn Polk, and we'll be talking to her about what she does. I think what she does is fascinating stuff, and to be honest with you, I think it was a fascinating conversation from my point of view. I do find some of the artists that they have at the gallery are really quite amazing people, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at something that we're now going to talk about. And we're going to go back onto this one now because this is part of the point this evening. We're looking at the White Horse pub in Church Lane, and I was gobsmacked when I looked up these figures. 6,000 UK pubs closed in 2020. 6,000, well, that's 120 pubs every week, while just 13 community pubs opened in 2020. And the question we've got to ask is, can the White Horse be saved? We've got an upcoming interview with a lady called Emma Harris Curtis, who is currently running a campaign about really getting the pub saved. How she's going to do it, we don't know, and she doesn't know, but we're working on ideas, and I think we're going to try and help her out to try and get somewhere with what she's doing and try and get things a bit better for her, because it's incredibly difficult. Okay, let's see what's happening to the interview. At the moment, it hasn't come up on the system. I think I'm going to kind of scratch my head for 10 minutes and say, what's happening? Well, don't know. But we'll go on to something else. Okay, let me ask you a question. Now I've got you a little question. I don't know how people are going to feel about this, but let's just get rid of that graphic and get me back to goodness gracious, what an ugly old geezer. So what I want to ask you about is parking. Now, back, if you remember, back in the kind of over the Christmas period, I guess it was really, we were talking a lot about parking in Felixstowe when the parking meters first came in. I want to do a story about this, and I actually want to get some input from your good selves, because I've been in a number of places since. Obviously, we've been on holiday and we've travelled a bit. And to be honest with you, the worst thing about it, I think, is that a lot of disabled people have kind of lost a benefit that we were getting, which is quite, one of those things. But also, there's a big change in the way that local people are dealt with. In the past, people who come and live in Felixstowe, we live in a lovely little town, it's great. But if you're old and not too well off, then you can have financial problems with parking. If I went to have a read down by the seaside, say 3 or 4 afternoons or 2 or 3 afternoons a week, it would cost me 10 or 12 quid out of a pension to pay for the parking. I want you to think about that and see whether that has affected you. If it has, I'd love to hear from you on Felixstowe Live. Okay, well, I'm delighted to tell you we've now got back to Emma, and we're going to have a chat with Emma now. This was pre-recorded. It was recorded a couple of hours ago, essentially because doing a live interview is quite daunting, and so we thought we'd do a pre-recorded one, and you can meet Emma and see what you think of what she's got to say. Here we go. One of the things that really has caught people's attention in Felixstowe over the last few days, I suppose, really, is the decision that's come out from Punch Pubs, who own the White Horse in Church Lane, and they have decided that they want to apply for planning permission to effectively knock the pub down, turn that into a convenience store, and to build 2 bungalows on the car park. Now, that, from their point of view, sounds like a jolly good idea, and I'm sure it will make them a lot of money. But from local people's point of view, it's not such a good idea. One person who's really got involved and who I think we should support and really say well done for having a go at them is a lady called Emma Harris Curtis. And I've got Emma with me here tonight. And unbelievably, here she is. Hi, Emma. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Very well.
Okay. Now, you've just finished a hard day's work, I know, but I'm going to try and get you to give us a bit of an idea about what actually happened with this. You obviously saw the story online when it first came out. What actually happened, and what did you think, and what did you gain from other people? Because I know you've got a lot of friends who use the pub, I think. And what kind of went through it, or what was the process?
Well, to be honest, I mean, my family live right near the pub, and no one had a clue until one day on Facebook. I'd just been taking the kids to school, and I come home and I was going through Facebook as we do, and I noticed this application. Obviously, speaking to family and obviously the neighbours and that, no one had a clue. No one knew. I was absolutely appalled. And then when I found out more that they want, as you say, want to demolish the pub, they want to build a convenience store with some parking and flats above, and they also want to build 2 bungalows on the car park. This is really not the right location for such a building. Well, one of the main things is that the traffic is going to increase by 7-fold. The road won't be able to cope with it at all. The pub currently has an average one delivery per week, and that is usually first thing in the morning. It avoids rush hour and it avoids school runs. When this shop is opened, obviously taking into consideration the inconvenience caused by the builders and their suppliers, that shop's going to need multiple daily deliveries from different firms. And that street right on that street is a hairpin, which some of the residents obviously describe it as fraud. There will be minimal parking made available. Obviously, so a lot of people will be required to park on the street. We've got to bear in mind that just past the church, the 16th century church, which is doors away from the pub, there is a primary school with no safety crossing. So at certain times of the day, the congestion is going to be absolutely unbearable on such a tiny road. I mean, it's not as tiny as an average country road, but it is small. It's an old, that road has been there since the 17th century. In the other direction, literally less than 350 metres away, you've got a row of shops. You've got an independent butcher's, an independent cakery, hairdressers. There's a beauty salon, a takeaway, an antique store, as well as a post office and a convenience store with ample parking, which I do know that in the Punch Tavern's statement, they actually failed to confirm that the convenience store was there. They only mentioned the hairdressers. On top of all that and the increase of traffic and everything, God forbid, if they do go ahead with that, there is also going to be a massive increase in noise, light and air pollution. It's going to devalue the houses massively. To be honest, it's not the right location. My family and I, we visit that pub quite often, and we enjoy a lovely home-cooked meal. In fact, my brother went there the other evening because the pub is still open. If people aren't sure why we want to save this pub, because one, it's beautiful, the history of it. In the gardens, there's still the original stables that are there, and they are beautiful if you can go in and have a look. I know, obviously, prior to COVID, we could, because you could actually book them for events. I don't know if that's still the case at the moment because of COVID, but it would be an absolute shame, because it has given support to the locals for a lot of people. That is their social. They don't have social media, so the pub to them is their social media. They go there to chat, to talk to friends, to have a drink, enjoy a meal with their family. It just seems absolutely madness that they want to tear it down and build a convenience store, which, as I said, I know I keep repeating it, but on a tiny road, the dangers ahead is just unreal.
Okay. We'll be back with Emma in about, I guess, a minute or so, because I just want to remind you that you can ask any questions, make any comments you like, because I think Emma is at the other end of her keyboard and is very happy to hear from you. If you want to ask her anything, we'll show the comments. She'll obviously see it on the screen anyway. But comments, questions, issues that you have about this, love to hear from you. Don't forget, we are here really for you so that you can keep in touch with what's happening locally. Let's hear from Emma again with my second question to her. What could be done with it? Punch pubs have said effectively, we can't make money running it, so we don't want to run it, is kind of the short version, isn't it? What could happen to it? Could it be taken over by the community, or is that too big a job? Or could something else happen? I don't know where we'd start, because the trouble is what we're doing is working against Punch Tavern's own timescale, isn't it? And against the planning timescale as well. What do you think could happen to the pub? If we could get in touch with them, that would be one thing, but they don't seem very keen to talk to anybody.
There are several things you can do. Yes, the community could take it over. I know that some people have posted about that and trying to seek some sort of legal advice, because there's a lot to entail. It could be sold as a going interest, as a free pub. There's so many things that could be dealt with. I appreciate them saying that they haven't been able to make a profit. However, for the last 18 months, we've had a pandemic, and I totally understand they haven't been able to make a profit. However, there are things that they could have done during the first lockdown, which weren't, for one reason or another, weren't being able to do. I know that the current landlords, they have done their best. But obviously, in the midst of this, they can't arrange anything because they don't know what's going to happen. I do believe, from hearing from one of my relatives who, as I said, who went in there recently, that they do want to do a lot. They want to do beautiful food. They want to do, some sort of event and things like that. But they can't do that at the moment because of this uncertainty. It's really sad, but there is a lot that can be done. But it's just a shame that Punch won't, as you say, won't communicate with everybody else.
So where do we go from here? What can we do in the short term to get things going a bit? I've tried to reach out to Punch pubs, but they haven't come back to me. Hopefully, perhaps they will in a day or two. I'll let you know if they do. What else can we do? Can we get, obviously this is going to be seen by a few hundred people. What can we do to actually make some kind of impression? Anything you say from this point, we'll put up as a caption later. But what do you think people can do in the short term? What can we do now?
Well, there's a couple of things that people can do. There is on Facebook, on a lot of the local residents and people's sites, there are links to the East Suffolk website where people can log on and put their objections. If they can't do that, there are several emails addresses with reference numbers, so they can email in directly, obviously with their objections. Also, if people visit the spa shop at the top of the road, which I said earlier, they also have a petition to be signed. Obviously, the deadline is the 27th of June. We just need to keep plugging and need to keep signing and keep objecting. I know that the majority of what I've seen online, a lot of people are against it. I appreciate some people, they just think, what's a pub? But then if you don't live in the immediate area, you don't understand what it means to the community. As growing up, it's always been nice to look out the window and see what they've got and their specials. Sometimes they put a little board outside, we know what they've got, and we would say, no, we're not going to cook tonight, we'll go across the road and have a nice meal. That way, we don't have to wash up. One of the benefits of life. But there are several things that we can do. So if they can't log on to the website or they can't do the email, go to the spa shop, sign that petition, please.
That's excellent. Thank you so much indeed for that, Emma. Hopefully people will get behind this, because the more noise you make out there, the more effect it will have. You can write to the councillors whose names and email addresses will be given after this, but you can also write to your own councillor. You can write to your district councillor, you can write to your town councillor and to your county councillor even. But the town councillor and the district councillor are the people to write to, and actually say, good Lord, we really do object to this. So that's what you need to do. In the meantime, although the deadline cut off for the objections is, I think, the 27th?
That's right, yeah.
Although that's the deadline, it doesn't mean that that's when the decision's going to be made. The decision is still some distance in the future. So if you could, or someone could, or anyone could, start a conversation with punch-ins before the final decision is made by the planners, then there's still some element of hope. And getting a response from Punch Taverns, guys, if you're watching this, come back to us, start a conversation. Okay, thank you so much, Emma. I hope you found this interesting and worthwhile, and I hope that everybody else has as well. Final word from you.
Please just log on, email our sign that petition, please object. This is a beautiful pub. It's well loved by the community and the surrounding town. I know that people have come from out of town to come there. Please show us your support.
That's really excellent. Thank you so much for that, Emma. And there you have it. Now, as promised, I've got the caption with the contact details. You can write to the planning consultants. That's the planning consultants for punch-ins. And perhaps say to Lauren, isn't it time you changed your mind and thought about the community you serve? You can write to the Mayor of Felixstowe, Mark Jepson, who's also an East Suffolk councillor. He'd love to hear from you. And so would Steve Gallant, who is a Felixstowe-based East Suffolk councillor. He is actually the leader of the council, so hopefully we can get him to get on side as well. The reference that you're looking at here is DC/21/2318/FUL, or you can actually go to that East Suffolk website. If you hit public access on planning, go to the planning page, hit public access and put that number into their search engine, and you will get to that planning application. Not only will you be able to make an objection there, you will also be able to actually see what the plan is. So it's really quite a useful one. And I hope that a lot of people see this and do so. And what have we got there from Leslie Long? Yep. Well done, Emma Harris Curtis. I think that's very true. I think she did outstandingly well. What a hero, really, for our town. We need people in our town who are willing to stand up and say what they believe in. And as far as I'm concerned, here on Felixstowe Live, we are delighted to give them a platform upon which to speak. And the other thing about it is, if we help people like Emma to get her case made, then perhaps we can make our town a better place by getting more people like Emma on the council. Who knows? There you go. There's a worthwhile little thought for you. Okay, so that wraps us up for this evening. This is our third regular weekly live on Felixstowe Live show, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've found it interesting. Do remember that if you have something to say that makes sense locally, I would love to hear from you, and a lot of other people would as well. This show gets seen by 500, 1,000 people easily in our town, and it's growing. Certainly, we've got nearly half again as many people watching us live as watched last week. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't know whether, of course, that's due to me having a lash up at the start, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm Chris. This is Felixstowe Live, and I have to say my little catch line then. I always do it. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.